Toronto Police are marking Fraud Prevention Month by highlighting the top 5 scams affecting people in the city. Let's go live to police headquarters.
Fraud impacts thousands of individuals and businesses here in Toronto every year, leading to significant financial losses, eroding trust, and impacting lives. With scams becoming more sophisticated and the digital landscape constantly evolving, knowledge is our best defense. Fraud occurrences have reached unprecedented levels. In 2024, the Toronto Police Service received just under 17,000 fraud reports, with losses exceeding $368 million. Due to shame and embarrassment and other reasons, fraud is vastly underreported, and we believe the actual numbers to be 10 to 20 times higher. The top 5 frauds, based on reported financial losses impacting Toronto residents, are online investment scams, which I'll speak about more in depth in a minute, with reported losses of $71.2 million. Account takeovers, which can be bank account, cell phone, or social media account takeovers, were reported at $36.1 million. Confidence scams, which are commonly known as con man scams, like romance, grandparent, renovation, or taxi scams, were reported at $34.5 million. Cryptocurrency scams were reported at $32.8 million. And identity theft, which had $16.4 million in reported losses. And as I said, we know the actual numbers are much, much higher. Today, I want to make Toronto residents aware of the most damaging scam being reported to us, the online investment scam. Scammers are posing as legitimate investment firms, promising high returns with little to no risk. The online investment scam often begins as a romance scam, initiating contact through phishing texts and emails, creating fake profiles on dating sites or social media, and then building trust and fostering relationships over weeks or even months. Once trust is established, the scammers subtly introduce an investment opportunity. Victims, enticed by the lure of financial gains, end up transferring funds to the scammers. Once a victim invests, they may show fake profits to encourage more deposits. But when you try to withdraw your money, they disappear along with your money. Today, we're launching another video in our Don't Get Scammed series, focusing on the online investment scam, where we share tips on how Toronto residents can recognize this scam and protect themselves from it. The video is now available on the Toronto Police YouTube page. No one is immune to being scammed. However, by staying informed and speaking up, we can all play a role in preventing fraud and protecting our communities. Our goal is always to encourage residents to recognize, reject, and report fraud. Throughout the month, we'll collaborate with our partners across government, law enforcement, and the private sector to provide Canadians with the tools, resources, and information they need to protect themselves against fraud. This includes our role in the Toronto Strategic Partnership, which in its 25th year brings the Toronto Police Service's mass marketing section together with partners from across Canada and the United States in ongoing efforts to combat fraud. Members of the partnership include Competition Bureau Canada, Canadian Anti-Fraud Centre, Ontario Ministry of Finance, Ontario Ministry of Public and Business Service Delivery, Canada Post Security and Investigation Services, United States Postal Inspection Service, United States Federal Trade Commission, Royal Canadian Mounted Police, and the Ontario Provincial Police. Thank you for your support, and thank you again to our partners and to all of you for helping to spread the knowledge and awareness that are paramount in the fight against fraud. Thank you, and I'd like to welcome Jeff Horncastle from the Canadian Anti-Fraud Centre to say a few words.
Thank you. Morning, everyone. I'm honored to be here today alongside our partners from law enforcement and government community. I'm going to start off by mentioning the CFC has been a member of the Toronto Strategic Partnership for 25 years, since we were phone busters. The Fraud Prevention Month is a month in which the public and private sectors come together to spread awareness and education related to fraud in Canada. This year's Fraud Prevention Month marks the 21st anniversary of the campaign, in which this year's campaign will focus on uncovering fraud. We'll be looking at some of the most common tools fraudsters use, how fraud impacts victims beyond the financial loss, how to report, where to report. If you haven't been a victim and you want to report, you can report to the Canadian Anti-Fraud Centre as well. Bottom line, fraud is a huge issue in Canada. Like was just mentioned, in Toronto alone, over $368 million was lost. $638 million was reported lost to the Canadian Anti-Fraud Centre in 2024. And again, that's estimating that, it's only the tip of the iceberg. We estimate that only 5 to 10% of victims report to the Canadian Anti-Fraud Centre. So our goal is to really spread awareness and, encourage reporting where we can. There's a lot of stigma with being a victim. Phrases like, it's just a scam and things like that. We're trying to get away from to encourage reporting and, bringing awareness to the fact that anybody can be a victim of fraud. So it's, essentially, our goal here is just to bring awareness, education, and encourage reporting. Events like this, help do that. So with that, I'd like to hand it over to Josephine Palumbo, Deputy Commissioner of Competition, Cartels, and Deceptive Marketing Practices Branch at the Competition Bureau of Canada.
Thank you, Jeff, and thank you, Dave.
Well, we've been listening to Toronto Police marking Fraud Prevention Month by highlighting the top 5 scams affecting people in the city. We'll have more on that throughout the morning and afternoon.